Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a crisis that is literally affecting almost every single one of us every single day. We're breaking down Dr. Ahmed Steen's incredibly fascinating medical insights into how our modern diet is, well, fundamentally destroying our metabolic harmony. So let's jump right into exactly what's happening inside your cells at this very moment. You know, this is kind of the ultimate mystery of our time. The human body is a perfect biological system, right? Beautifully designed for work, for living, for thriving, and it absolutely requires specific energy sources just to function at its best. So why on earth would this brilliantly engineered machine suddenly start attacking itself? Why does the exact fuel it needs to survive suddenly turn into a deadly toxin? Section 1. Nature's perfect energy system. To really get to the bottom of that question, we first need to look at how things used to be. Just look at the stark contrast here. On one hand, we've got natural carbohydrates. We're talking the complex sugars and starches found in whole grains, fruits, and veggies. Our bodies evolved to process these absolutely perfectly. But then, human intervention happened. We got completely obsessed with extracting and concentrating these energy sources. Look at the modern stuff. Sodas, heavily refined white flour, artificial sweeteners, highly processed meats pumped full of preservatives. We basically took what was perfectly natural and turned it into a concentrated chemical assault. To put it in perspective, the average modern human actually consumes more sugar in a single week than our ancestors did in an entire year. Crazy, right? Okay, so let's look at how the body is actually supposed to work when it's functioning naturally. When we fast, or let's say we do some hard physical labor, our energy obviously drops. And the body has this brilliant response. Your pancreas releases a little messenger called glucagon. Think of glucagon as a frantic factory manager who steps in and yells, "Hey, we need fuel." It immediately breaks down stored glycogen in your liver into usable sugar and starts tapping into your fat stores. Now, at the exact same time, your stomach secretes ghrelin. Ghrelin is the messenger that taps your brain on the shoulder and says, "Hey buddy, it is time to eat." It's an elegant system that keeps our biological factory running perfectly when food is scarce. Now picture the other side of that beautiful pendulum. When you finally do sit down for a balanced meal, your blood sugar goes up, and the pancreas releases insulin. Insulin's entire job is to burn that sugar for immediate energy and then grab whatever is left over and store it as fat or glycogen. But your body doesn't just want to keep eating endlessly, right? Your fat tissues actually release another incredible messenger called leptin. Leptin travels straight to the brain's satiety centers and literally shouts, "We are full, stop eating." It even helps break down the excess fat. It does the exact opposite of insulin. When this pendulum swings back and forth in perfect rhythm, we live in total metabolic peace. But man, did we mess that rhythm up. Section 2, the modern sugar disruption. This right here is the unjust interference of our modern lifestyle. Because it's not just about what we eat anymore, it is how we eat. We act like eating is our full-time job. We're constantly snacking, continually drinking, and just flooding our systems with pure, concentrated sugars and chemical-laden meats. And the worst part, we never, ever give our biological factory a break. The mouth, the stomach, the intestines, the liver, they're all working in massive overdrive, 24/7, with zero time to recover. So what happens next? Well, the biological factory gets so incredibly noisy from this constant barrage of sugar that your cells essentially put on noise-canceling headphones. They just stop hearing the insulin messenger altogether. This is what we call insulin resistance. Because the cells flat out refuse to open their doors to let the sugar in to be burned, that sugar has nowhere to go. It just starts backing up, accumulating to extremely dangerous, toxic levels right there in your bloodstream, all while your poor body is frantically pumping out more and more useless insulin. And since that sugar has literally nowhere to go, welcome to Section 3, the toxic fallout. Now, I want to be clear, this isn't just some abstract concept. We are talking about actual, physical, mechanical damage happening at a microscopic level. This excess sticky sugar floating around in your blood actually binds to the proteins in your cell walls. It literally weakens the structures of your cells. It causes localized inflammation and starts building up dangerous clots in your most vital arteries, specifically the tiny, delicate ones feeding your kidneys, your eyes, and your nerves. That's exactly why we see such devastating long-term complications in diabetic patients. And this leads us to one of the most critical markers your doctor ever looks at. You know that HbA1c test they always order? Glycated hemoglobin. See, sugar isn't just sitting harmlessly in your blood. It is an active threat. It binds directly with the hemoglobin in your red blood cells. Now, hemoglobin has one job: carry life-giving oxygen to every single cell in your body. But when it gets coated in this sticky sugar, it can't do its job. The sugar is actively suffocating your body's cells. The nervous system gets absolutely hammered by this lack of oxygen. The result is so profound that Professor Stan points out something pretty shocking. Alzheimer's is considered a type of diabetes number 3. This sugar-induced starvation of the brain leads directly to brain fog, a massive lack of focus, memory loss, and eventually, dementia. The metabolic damage to the brain is just heartbreakingly clear. And the collateral damage? It is everywhere. No organ system escapes this metabolic chaos. It disrupts your thyroid. It causes reproductive issues. And all that excess sugar, it ultimately gets converted into fat. But not just the fat under your skin. We're talking fat jammed directly into your liver. This fatty liver severely hinders how your organs function, and left unchecked, it can eventually lead to irreversible cirrhosis and dangerously elevated triglycerides. Which brings us to the ultimate tragic irony of the modern diet. Section 4, the final glitch. So think about this paradox for a second. If our bodies are storing massive amounts of excess energy as fat, shouldn't we feel completely full and totally satisfied all the time? Why is it that the more overweight a person becomes, the more intensely hungry they often feel? Well, the answer is devastating. Leptin resistance. Remember leptin? That's the messenger from earlier that tells the brain, hey, we're full. Well, as your fat tissue increases, it pumps out more and more leptin, trying desperately to stop the fat accumulation. But just like with insulin, the system gets so overwhelmed that the brain just stops listening. The message is entirely blocked. Your body is literally screaming that it is overflowing with energy, but your brain, it hears absolute silence. The brain genuinely believes you are starving to death, which creates this constant, ferocious craving for more sugar and more food. So you're trapped in this nightmare loop. The brain demands more sugar because it thinks you're starving. You eat the sugar, which creates more fat, which creates more inflammation, which blocks the signals even further. It's a total breakdown. As Dr. Steen notes, without intervention, this ends in complete system failure: kidney failure, liver failure, heart attacks, and strokes. Breaking this vicious cycle? It's impossible with a quick fix. It requires a comprehensive, healthy lifestyle overhaul to finally give your digestive system a rest and restore your body's natural balance. Look, your body is a miraculous, perfectly balanced system. It is simply buckling under the weight of a completely unnatural environment. The mechanics of how this destruction happens are crystal clear now, but so is the path out. So the question is, will you continue to let concentrated sugars and processed foods hijack your biological balance? Or will you use this knowledge to take action today and restore the harmony your body was built for? Definitely something to think about the next time you reach for a snack.